Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome, everybody. This is a live reaction to the brand new news that some of you heard about very late last night, some of you while you were sleeping, and many of you are getting this probably later after you wake up because I'm in Switzerland. I'm on vacation right now in Switzerland, nestled in the beautiful area of Zermatt. We did some wonderful hiking over the last few days, and this is a 6 hour difference from my usual time when I would do this because I'm not in the Northeast. I'm in Switzerland, 6 hour difference. There you go. But I had to get on here, even amidst, you can see my sort of luggage in the background, being on vacation to do a reaction video to the brand new news that for Bond 26, we have a director. We do. And the first thing that I had to do was to look up how do you pronounce his name? Because I didn't want to be one of those people that mispronounced his name, like I've done Daniel Craig for all these years. So it's Denis Villeneuve. And a lot of French folks said, don't say Villeneuve with a V. It's a soft F at the end, Villeneuve. So Denis Villeneuve, who of course directed wonderful films. Prisoners, fan of it. Sicario, fan of that as well. And of course, he's done the Dune series and Blade Runner. I mean, you know him from a lot of different things. He was one of the front runners um, for this job. And so now he has it. It's official. It's been announced by Amazon that he is the director for Bond 26. And I wanted to do a reaction video because it is so fresh in my mind. When I received the news, I got up this morning, um, ready to possibly go out hiking today, and turned on my phone, and I was greeted by more than just a smattering of people going, "Is this true? Is it real?" And so I clicked on my Amazon Studios alerts, and sure enough, there it was that Denis Villeneuve is the director. And I immediately had a visceral reaction, which was, I'm so glad we have a director. I mean, just every time we have a bit of new news on Bond 26, it just feels like we get a little bit closer to sitting in the theater, smelling popcorn, and having a new Bond film after all these years. So in that regard, I was elated. And then, you get a espresso, coffee, things start to wake up, synapse fire. And then you start to think about it. Wow, this is okay. This is our new director. This is our new director who comes, like every director, with their own style. And immediately had to think, all right, what is Duni going to bring to this? And I took a moment and I stopped and I read very carefully the press release from Amazon. And again, just to step back for a moment from a marketing standpoint, all these press releases, they don't just sit there and go, put this together, and then it goes up 20 minutes later. This is press releases like this of this nature, which is going to be global news, is poured over for days, sometimes weeks. Approvals have to go through. And so I read this very carefully. And what I loved about it was, first and foremost, he said he's a fan, that he's been a fan since he was a little boy. He said those magical words that we've all said, is that my father brought me to the Bond films. Sound familiar? Yeah, my background as well. That's why I love the Bond film so much. It was that connection to my father. So I love that he had the family connection. And then he said those next magical words, which is, I'm going to honor the legacy. I'm going to honor Bond and all he brings to the table. Meaning, I don't believe, I think what he's saying in the press release is that he's not somebody that's, I'm here to change Bond, put a new face on. And he says that he's going to honor this. So I respect that. The other thing he said is many missions to come in the press release, which is fascinating because that means, I would imagine, he signed up maybe for multiple. I mean, this is a guy that's doing the third Dune right now. So he is somebody that understands a good trilogy. So perhaps he's doing the Bond trilogy coming up, which I would love. I would love to have some consistency of style and director, whatever they bring to the table. And then I became what I would consider cautiously optimistic. And I did a poll. I did a poll in my stories on Instagram. You can see it. And please vote on that poll. I'd like to see what it comes out to be is, are you excited about the news about Duni? Are you fearful of the news? Or are you cautiously optimistic? And 60% or more said they're excited, which got me excited. I mean, this is what happens, right? You get caught up into the excitement of what other people think. And then fearful was very low percentage, like 10%. And then I think maybe the other 30% were what I am right now, which is cautiously optimistic. So why am I cautiously optimistic? And this is again, this is my first reaction. I'm sure there'll be other videos to come. For example, I want to talk to my niece, Marissa, who many of you have seen in my some of my movie debates that I've had here, because she's a cinephile, um, not self-professed. She's truly a cinephile, but she also understands who Denis Villeneuve is, and understands his films, has seen all his film, loves his films. So I want to see, why is she so excited? She texted me while I was sleeping and said, "I want to come on your show and talk to you about this director." I am caught up in the excitement that other people feel of this director. So why am I cautiously optimistic? The cautiously part comes in the fact that I've seen the Dune films, and if I'm being totally transparent, which I have to be on my own channel, sorry, um, I thought they were very high-styled film, filled with things, filled with interesting twists, and definitely focused on characters. I don't know if I fully got it. I felt like these were very full films. Um, I don't know. I think to me it was very stylized. Um, I'm not a fan of Timothy Chalamet. Say Chalamet, Schmidt, Chalamet, Chalamet, Timothy Chalamet. So maybe that hurt the chances of me appreciating the Dune films. But it wasn't something that I watched these Dune films and I was like, oh my gosh, masterpieces. And I know people that watch those Dune films and they say it's a masterpiece. It wasn't for me. And maybe it's because I'm more of a Star Wars guy. Who knows? But it just wasn't for me. Um, was it capable? Absolutely. Was it well done? Absolutely. And I had to go back to Sicario, which I really like that film. I love the twists. I love the characterizations. I I'm cautiously optimistic because I believe this director is going to bring back suspense. That the From Russia with Love type of suspense to James Bond. I think that he's going to be a considered and serious director. Um, I think he could probably bring some fun elements to it, but I think you're going to get a very styled and very serious director. AKA, if you loved the Daniel Craig films, then those, I believe, will continue in that vein. It'll be a more serious, studied Bond. I do believe that you'll get some really good characterizations, but the suspense will be there. If you've seen Prisoners, if you've seen Sicario and appreciate those films, I think you have a lot to be excited about with this director. When it comes to why I'm cautious and not just optimistic, it's because, the Blade Runner film, I was fine with. Like I was fine. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was amazing to look at. I don't remember it that much. Even the Dune films, like I don't have a really profound memory of them, where I was when I watched them. I know I watched them, but they weren't events to me. They kind of washed over me, which there's nothing wrong with a film washing over you. It doesn't need to change your life. But these weren't majorly impactful films where if somebody said, what were some of your favorite top 20 films? His films would not be in there. But I don't know if I need that. And I'm the reason this is my first reaction, and it seems a little bit all over the place, is because you're not getting very studied thoughts. I'm kind of putting it out there of, I'm very optimistic that he's going to put something together that is well cared for. In other words, we are going to get an absolutely quality film, possibly three quality films. What I don't know in my fantasy world of James Bond, when I think about the next James Bond, we all do this, by the way, until the new Bond film comes out, we play the fantasy game of what would the Bond film be if we conjured it up in our film. I don't know if I'm getting the smirky, sort of wise guy, pithy, gentleman spy Bond from this director yet. Now, what he says is that he is a Bond fan. He studied the Bond films. He's lived the Bond films. He's poured over them as a child into a man. And he's, by the way, he's about my age. He's maybe 1 year older. So I believe that this guy is not a one-trick pony at all. I do know that about him. Incredibly accomplished director, loved by many. He's not going to say to himself, "Well, I'm going to make a Bond version of Dune or Dune version of Bond or whatever you want to call it." I don't think he's going to come with just one style. I think, I believe that this director can come away as a fan and say, I have a vision. I'm sure he has a vision, right? What a creative individual of what Bond could be. And the one thing that gives me probably the biggest hope with this director is that he is a world builder. He builds worlds. He doesn't just replicate worlds. So I don't think he's going to, take a Terrence Young, or a Martin Campbell and say, I need to replicate their style. He's going to build a world of Bond. And I go back to what I said about what Amazon is doing. Amazon is not just in the business of doing Bond films. That day has come and gone. It's not there anymore. They are building the world of 007. They're building the world of Bond. And if you think about a director who can world build around this character, Denis Villeneuve is the guy. I believe he is a great guy to build worlds. He's not just a guy to, take the helm and do a Bond 26. He's the guy that can say, something, this is the world of Bond. This is the world of Bond that we're familiar with. And dare I say, this might be the type of director that truly brings Fleming back to the world of Bond films. Now, hear me out. 'Cause I thought about this, like as I was eating, eggs and stuff this morning. Real time, real time. Uh, this guy can go back to the books and work with a writer, of which a writer has not been announced yet, but I'm sure that's coming very soon, and say, all right, um, let's take the Fleming aspects and build a Bond who is serious enough, but build a world of Bond around what Fleming created. The one thing he did with Dune very successfully, and even I recognize this, is better than certainly the Lynch film of the 80s, is he brought the books to life. He's bringing the books to life. This is you could say he's an auteur director, but he brings books to life in a filmatic way that is accepted and embraced by many. So number one, I like the fact that many people are excited about this because I want more people to see Bond. I want Bond to be in the forefront. I want to share that, right? But the other thing is, if he brings the Fleming aspects and books to life in the way that he brought the Doom books to life, I'm in. I'm in. No matter what came before, no matter what, if Dune was impactful with me or not, or Blade Runner was impactful with me, if he brings that suspense, the Sicario twists and turns, the intrigue, the characterizations, and the Fleming books to life, I'm in, folks. And you should be too. Now, a lot of speculation. And again, this is like the early mornings of things, but people are saying, well, what about the music? The music of Bond. Well, Zimmer is his boy, and vice versa, right? Hans Zimmer, who's already done No Time to Die. The fact that he may be back, I would give it a 75 or 80% chance. That's a pretty good chance that he'll be back with the music. And I liked it. I think Zimmer did a great job. I think he's got that bombastic approach. Um, I think they will serve each other well. But the biggest question on everybody's mind right now is, does he, does this director, does Amazon, do they all come together over the next few weeks? And if they haven't already, will they start the process of casting a new Bond? Some would have conjecture that they probably already started casting. I mean, it's not like they signed, Dooney yesterday. They probably did it a few weeks ago and have kept it quiet, but there could be a new actor being announced very soon. I think that's exciting. I mean, let's see, what is it? It's the end of June. Could we have a new actor announced by the end of July? Could we have it sometime in August? I think before the summer's out, this is my total speculation, nothing based in fact, obviously. One fan talking on his YouTube channel. Um, I think we could have an actor announced before the end of the summer. Big question that I see in the comments right now is what is going to happen as far as timing is concerned? Because I'm talking about timing. I'm talking about all these things being announced, maybe a Bond actor. What about the start of the film? And everybody's talking about he's filming Dune. He's filming Dune 3. He's got to get that out, etc. Yes, but once that's finished, nothing is stopping him along the way from him and his team doing pre-production. And unless any of you think this is one man doing the job of pre-production, there's an entire team. I mean, there was a lot of other announcements here in Amazon today, not just a director, but it is the support team. It is the team coming together, the excitement, even in the announcement, how all of the quotes were interwoven together like connective tissue. This is a team approach. So the team can help with the pre-production, help Duni with casting, and then boom, we can start filming before the end of the year, potentially, probably aggressive, or beginning of next year, more than likely. And if they start filming beginning of next year, we'll have a Bond film in the next year and a half, more than likely, which 2027 still likely. 2026, I think too aggressive. 2027, 2027. There's a nice seven in there. I think it's got a nice ring to it. All right. So that's my conjecture. 17, a lot of sevens, David, in this. I'm cautiously optimistic. I have a feeling that I will be swayed a little bit more to the optimistic, even excited stage, the more I hear from people, the more I talk to people about why do they like Denis Villeneuve. Um, what do they love about his movies? Why do they believe he is going to be the perfect director for the next Bond film and possibly films trilogy and creating this new world of 007? So let's go to some of the comments. And I've never done this. By the way, I'm on my phone. I didn't even bring my computer with me. So we're going to have a comment on here. Let's see. What was Connery then? Way to pick it up, David. Way to pick it up. Way to pick up a great quote. So here's the thing. Craig didn't sign on until he read the script. This is going to be a little chunky because again, I'm on my phone. You can even see the camera uh, cracking, but this is like in beta right now, this StreamYard. Oh, sorry, everybody's talking about yes. So Frank B says, for example, Denis still has to film Dune 3. Yes. And I don't know, do any of you know when Dune 3 is filming? I could have sworn somebody said that it is this summer. So if he films this summer and it takes what, 3 to 4 months to film something like that nowadays, uh, pre-production, but he's got to edit that film too. It's a lot of work. Yeah, you're probably not, you're talking Bond 26 starting next year, more than likely. But let me see if I can pull up a couple of comments. I love pulling comments into here. Do you need, oh, here we go. Here we go. This gentleman seems intelligent. Dune needs months of filming, probably until end of the year. Then post-production won't be available to start Bond until at least mid 2026. You know what? I think that's reasonable. I think that probably is correct. Um, that timing sounds right. I'd like to hear from people why you may be excited about this news, or possibly why you might be fearful of this news. Let's see. Someone has, oh, the other fellow. Hello, the other fellow. How are you? David, would you react negatively if Aaron Taylor Johnson is cast? No, no, I wouldn't. I've said my comments about Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's hard for me to picture. There may be a voice thing going on there. I don't think I've seen him in the best films either. The freshest things for Aaron Taylor Johnson for me has been like Craven, which I wasn't craving to see to begin with, and I certainly am not craving to see again. Um, and then Nosferatu, which I didn't love. I didn't love. Maybe I'm just not an artsy appreciator. Uh, oh, this one's good. Okay, I love this. Shadow Zone Media says, so far, so good. Now, hire Theo James. I know. Look, as a Bond fan, I still have my wish list. I still have my fantasies. Theo James as Bond paired with Dooney, I think would be great. I think Theo James, you couldn't help but bring sort of the fun factor, the cool factor. And the one thing that Donny says he's a Bond fan, first and foremost. The one thing I want to see with this Bond is the gentleman spy. And a lot of people have been saying about the video game, for example, where's the gentleman spy in this video game? The video game, it looks, I don't see the gentleman spy. I think he needs to become the gentleman spy in the video game. So I'll give the video game its kitchen pass, so to speak. But in the film, I want to see not a very seasoned Bond, but at least a Bond 3 years into his tenure as a double O. And so I want to see the gentleman spy. And Theo James, I think, could bring the gentleman spy styled, charming, using his charm and wit and danger and menace, and badass snish, snish, snish. But let's see what else we got. Here we go. We've got some more comments. I love these comments. Redhead of Epic. I can definitely see 2027 being the release year for the new 007. The marketing potential for that would be perfect. Yes. And by the way, that's something important to note. When it comes to marketing, Amazon is going to be a juggernaut in all of this. The other thing is, um, think of Skyfall. Think of the year that they had when they released their film, because of everything from the Olympics to other things that were going on. They took full advantage of a particular year, of an environment, of things going on. So 2027 could be absolutely um, epic, epic, epic. So here we go. What does Benz have to say? Everybody wants to know what Ben's saying. So Ben says, my money is casting begins mid to late 2025, announcement early 2026, film and production 2026, release late 2027. They'll leverage the 7 year number. I think everybody's going to believe that. If they don't take advantage of the seven number, which is a little thing, right? We want a good story, we want a good Bond, we want a good director. Um, the year seems almost inconsequential, but when it comes from a marketing standpoint and we want to get butts and seats and share the love of James Bond with the rest of the world, it could be a very important factor. People saying Thea would work. Villeneuve must have really worked the room. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Some reactions. This is what I'm looking for. So Matthew Lombard, 1981, says, good morning, David, and hello from Ireland. Yeah, we're almost on the same time. What, an hour off? This news of Denis Villeneuve, I'm going to keep saying that until it becomes like white noise to me. Directing the next James Bond film is very exciting. That's what I've been hearing from most people, which I'm really happy. The other thing is, I will say this. Of course, I know this director. I just mentioned before, if you're just joining, the Dune films, I wouldn't say had the greatest impact on me, nor did Blade Runner. I did like Prisoners. Jake Gyllenhaal was amazing in that. I loved the characterization of him in that. Really love Sicario. Um, but I I know that it's in good hands because he is an incredibly formidable and skilled director. And as a Bond fan, as somebody that is passionate enough about Bond to run his own channel and engage with other Bond fans like I do, I want Bond to be in good hands. It's almost like sending your child off to summer camp. Who are the counselors? Who's running the summer camp? What's their reputation? That's the same way with the producers and the showrunners and the writers, and yes, the director too. You want your Bond to be in good hands. And I know with this director, it's in good hands. What it turns out to be, who knows? Here we go. So we've got Man 23 says excited for something new. I've been hearing that as well. And by the way, new meaning it's been a while since we've had a Bond film. People saying end of summer. Oh, somebody says it's filming now. I don't know. Um, and then Dune 3, people are saying it's going to be filming starting around August. So it hasn't started filming yet, which makes sense. So Denis can sort of do the rounds. This is interesting. So and again, a lot of you know more about production and film schedule more than I do. Who am I, right? Denis has 3 movies in pre-production right now. That's the reality of things. These directors, they're not sitting at home in their basement with a single light bulb above their head. Got the picture? They have teams. They have empires of people in pre-production that help them plan this out. So, yes, you can have multiple films in pre-production. It's not going to be it's not going to be an issue. All right, here's something interesting. So this may not be positive news for people, but Jesse Owen Villamore says less action, more talk Bond movie. So let me comment on that because I saw something on my comments on my Instagram post this morning about that with this director we may get a more not so much introspective but story related Bond versus wall to wall action. So a little bit more From Russia with Love versus Tomorrow Never Dies. I believe if he is a fan, if Tony is a fan, as he's saying he is, he's going to know that Bond is tethered by the amazing action. That is not going to be just this character study monologue on a stage. But I really enjoyed the new Mission Impossible. And a lot of people had an issue with the first hour because they said it was too talky, too much characters, too much storytelling. I loved it. I loved the first hour of the first Mission Impossible film because it made the other hour and a half, whatever it is, so much more robust. Like it was meaningful. And if they paint the characters in a meaningful way in the Bond films, and then the latter half of it is the strong point, because I've had an issue with some of the Bond films where the ending is weak. I mean, I'm sorry, I'll take you back to No Time to Die, Spectre, etc. It just kind of falls apart. And then the Bond bad guys just don't feel menace. They don't feel important enough for you to care about or for Bond to be connected to them. If Denis connects the characters together in a really fantastically sinewy way, I'm in. I'm in. I'm in for that, especially if he's doing a trilogy. If this is something where you can sort of follow it along for multiple films and see the character growth and see how other characters supporting and even some of the bad guy organizations connect with Bond along his journey to see him grow, um, to see missions because he says multiple missions. That's exciting to me. All right, let's see what else we got. Bond will not be out until 2028. Oh, Abe Froman says this. Abe, don't say, no, don't do that. Um, so a couple people saying Dune's filming and post-production is hefty. Lots of special effects. Will not start until 2026. Probably right. All right, here we go. DJ loves Turbo. I hope this next film will be a traditional Bond film and shows up in his office and gets a mission on a mission. Um, I would love that. That would be interesting. I've said before from a marketing standpoint, I believe that Amazon will not take huge risks. I didn't say chances. I said risks. What I mean by that is they know they need to have a commercial win, especially the first Bond film out of the gate. They can't say, here's our art house movie. It's very unique. It's very different. It doesn't smell or look like Bond, but it's got the James Bond name on it. I hope you all go to it. They can't do that. They can't. There's no way. They need to have a cracker of a win. They need to smash it. Um, if you look at the producers, if you look at the showrunners, the supporting players, and now the director, these are all A plus. There's no, oh, we're we're kind of goofing around, or we're doing an art house film. These are big blockbuster A+ people in the industry. These are not slouches. These are not, huh? Who's that? I need to look them up. These are big players. They're putting their money where their mouth is. And I believe that when it comes to Bond, we probably will have Bond walking into M's office, getting a mission, being sent on a mission, because they can't fool with that. I mean, there are certain formula aspects that they can tweak, they can enhance, they can update, but there are some that they just can't mess with, because if they take a look at what's won and what's done well before and what hasn't, it's all there. Folks, you have 60+ years of history of just going back and seeing what's failed and what has succeeded. It's all there. Sam, what you saying? You're saying you're very excited, Sam, is what you're saying. Good. Love to see that. Oh, hey, look at this. One of my old buddies. DK, I'm with you. 2027, that will be the appropriate year to launch this new era of 007. Exactly. And by the way, I do like something that Amazon is doing in a big way. And they listen, if nothing else, this. Amazon, they're marketers, they're experts in creating excitement. I mean, look at this. Most of you are asleep when I'm doing this. Um, Wrist roll. It's a Bond watch, folks. It's the Tissot from Live and Let Die. Coffee's just hitting. Um, Wrist roll. But there's so much excitement being generated to this. Just when we think it's kind of going a little bit quiet, we get something else. And I think we're going to be getting more and more of that. I think they're timing these moments perfectly well. So we're going to keep getting these. All right, I'm just going to take a couple more comments, and then I'm going to let you have your life back, because this was my first reaction. I'm sure there'll be many. The real question now is who writes, because they can get started writing ASAP. Duni would probably co-write. So this is important, and I'm so glad you brought this up, because I've thought about this before. Whichever director they write, Duni will be a co-writer. When the credits roll on Bond 26 and 2027, 2028, whenever it happens, it won't just be, here are the writers. The director, in this case specifically, will be one of the co-writers, possibly even the co-producer. They will have a role in every aspect of the film. And I will tell you, the reason I'm more optimistic than cautious, and my cautiously optimistic about this news, is that this guy can write. This guy knows story. This guy knows character, and he knows how to take a book, turn it into a movie successfully, and embrace a lot of people. You know, again, I hate to reiterate this. I'm probably my fifth time saying this in this video, but did he grab me in the Dune movies? Did he grab me in Blade Runner? Maybe not in the most memorable sense, but I know it was in good hands. And I know people that love Dune and love Blade Runner that were very happy with those entries. There was no sadness, there was no miss on their part. And what I'm going to do with my channel is, over the next few weeks and probably months, I want to speak to more people, friends, even family, like my niece, Marissa, who loves this choice. Texted me in the middle of the night, what was she doing up? Uh, I want to find out why they're excited. And I am going to consume all the content out there. I know probably, after I release this video, there will be other videos from Dutch Bond Fan and Calvin Dyson and Heavy Spoilers. People like Analyze This, Mr. Bond, Bond's Apartment. There will be so many people out there that have videos. Being James Bond, Joe Darlington is probably going to have a video or a podcast on this. I'm going to consume all those because I'm not crowdsourcing my excitement. That's wrong. But the reason I go to a movie theater to watch Bond films is because the community act of watching a film together, of feeling the energy, and there really is an energy, there's a crackle in the environment, gets me excited. Hearing other people's laughter and gasps and joy is a community feeling. And I think the excitement of these announcements is part of the community feeling, the Bond community feeling of getting rolled up into it. So thank you for all of you, hundreds and hundreds of people that jumped onto this. I don't know what time of the morning it is for you, but I appreciate that. We'll keep an eye on this stuff. But in the meantime, I'm going to go enjoy my vacation, go hiking, in these beautiful mountains. We hiked around the Matterhorn. That was beautiful. And we did not meet the demise, the end of James Bond's parents. I'm happy to say. Yeah, I live to die another day. So there we go. Everybody, have a great day. Keep posting, and I'll talk to you real soon. Take care now.